What happens to children placed in foster care by DCPP?
In New Jersey, when a child is placed into foster care, which is also known as placement, there is a process to make sure that the child is well and that the state has all of its pertinent information about the child that is going into placement. So typically your child is going to have a physical. And if your child has recently had a physical, the agency will secure that information from your child's pediatrician to know what the health status is of the child. Oftentimes, the child is placed in what is referred to as the least restrictive environment. So for children that don't have any developmental disabilities or physical impairments, the child is going to be placed with a family that has volunteered and has been court approved to be a placement resource. Beyond that, if your child has any special needs, if your child has any mental health deficits or behavioral problems, there may be an escalation in the level of care that's required in order to have the child in placement. So your child could go into a group home or could go into a medical or mental health facility, depending on what his or her needs are. Once the child is in placement, there is a process to ensure that you have some level of access to your child. That is also supposed to be the least restrictive form of access, meaning a lot of people assume you must be supervised with your child if you have a DCPP placement. However, that's not the case. In fact, there is a presumption that your child should have, again, ample access to you, and that's actually codified into DCPP's regulations. Unfortunately, because DCPP is concerned about child abuse and neglect, or else they wouldn't have removed your child in the first place, they often take a very adversarial position regarding giving you limited access at the start of the case in order to make sure that your child is okay and that your child acclimates to being in placement for however long that needs to happen. That's why you should work very carefully with your DCPP attorney to oppose any form of restriction on your parenting time that's excessive and that grants you a significant amount of time and the least restrictive amount of time that you can have.